One. What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here. Welcome back to an amazing training I have for you coming up in a little bit. So today's topic is going to be the 8 activities that stands out on the UC application. So for those of us who are applying to one of the incredible UC schools, the UCLA, the Berkeley, San Diego, Irvine, Santa Barbara, might as well finish it up. Davis, I say sorry about Santa Cruz, Riverside, and Merced, the 9 UC campus. If you're applying to these schools, right, you guys know that on the application, you'll be sharing your academics, your classes, your grades. You'll be at the end sharing the essay questions and sharing your responses there. But you'll also be sharing your activities. And it's actually a very underrated area on the UC application process itself. So in this session, we're going to go through, talk about the application as a whole, and then I'm going to share 8 things for you guys to consider. Some of these things are like stuff you're already doing, so you know you're kind of on the right track. Some of these will give you inspiration to start these as well too. I see we have a lot of younger students here, younger families, a lot of 9th, a lot of 10th grade families as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And if it was your very first time meeting me today, my name is Coach Tony. Really quick, before I do a quick little intro, just curious, who is it? Is this your first call with us? Go ahead and drop a number 1 in the chat. Drop a number 1 if it's your very first call with us. You're like, who is this guy with his really cool mohawk talking to me? Drop a number 1 in the chat. It was your first call with us ever. Look at that. Tons of ones. Awesome. Fantastic there. So for all of our new friends, welcome. Thank you for joining us live here. My name is Coach Tony. I've been helping families with the college admission process for 16 years now. So it's been like a long time. So I know we have a lot of 9th and 10th graders. I've probably been doing this longer than your kids have been alive for those 2 grades. So that's a little fun fact there. So my start, if you guys know where Disneyland is, that's kind of where I'm from. Grew up there in Southern California. My parents told me to go school nearby, so I got into UC Irvine, got into UCLA. I actually got into 30 colleges when I applied. And then both those 2 schools gave me a full ride scholarship. I did not go there though. I actually went on to UC Berkeley because I want to get away from my parents was the reason why I went to UC Berkeley. And then after I graduated, I actually became a reader with them. So what readers do is when students submit their application to the colleges, it goes to the reading team. All the schools have this. The reading team is the first group. They read the application. They recommend yes. They recommend no to students. So that's gonna be the first kind of line of defense. They read that, give some yeses, give some no. So doing that over a few years, you start to see trends, right? You start to see like learning lessons like, oh, this is what readers are looking for. This is what students should be having on their application process. And I think a lot of the admissions process, it's kind of the unknown, right? You guys don't know what to do. So I call it the shotgun approach. You're just doing everything that you think you need to do. So a lot of families are like, Coach Tony, I'm doing everything. And the question I've learned doing this process for so long, are you doing the right everything? So that's gonna be one of the big core themes of this training here today is teaching you guys, are you doing the right things in this process? So if we're gonna ready to get started, if you guys are ready to get started, drop a yes in the chat. We're gonna go ahead and have some fun today. Again, for those who are new, feel free to chat with me in the chat. Drop the questions in Q&A. We'll probably save some time at the end, just go through them as well. So it's gonna be a really fun call here today for those who are. There we go. Drop the yeses are coming through. Love it, love it, love it. We're at over 180 people here. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining me live here. And for those who are watching the replay, welcome from the past. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. You guys can see. And then the answer is yes, you can have my notes. Is you know it's coming. You know it's coming every single week. All right. So for those who are here live by this point in time, I'm dropping the notes in the chat. And for everyone else after this, hang on tight. Link working. There we go. Little animals are flowing in. So yeah, if you guys want to follow along, you can drop the doc. And if you're watching the replay of this, it's somewhere above, next to, below, somewhere on this page. You can probably find it as well, right? So let's go ahead and talk about it. The 8 things, the 8 activities that stands out on the UC application. So first off, I always start with some theory. Let's understanding a little bit, right? So understanding the where this fits in, right? So when it comes to the admissions process, college admissions process for any single school that you guys plan to do, there's three areas. There's academics, there's the activities, and the application process itself. These are the three core things you need to make sure you have correct, right? So today we're going to be focusing on this middle piece right over here. And is this really that important? Is this good? Is this bad? People think of this as the clubs, the sports, the instruments that you do. It is actually a lot more than that. In fact, how important is this? I would beg to differ that academics is not as important as your activity. So this is going to be one of the inequalities, right? For those of you who speak math, right? Inequalities that we want to make sure we achieve. The reason why our students have been so successful in what we do is because, again, we have some simple frameworks that our students follow, right? In today's world, everyone's smart. Everyone's uber smart now. So you can't really stand out when it comes to academics, when it comes to grades. I bet if I ask people here, right, what classes are you taking? What grades are you doing? A lot of you guys would say the same answers, same things. Whoa, we crossed the 200 people mark. Thank you, everyone, for joining, right? Is the big thing here. However, However, right, where you truly stand out is the activity. So this is where you stand out in the application process itself. And for those who like, where does application fit in? All right. That's the final inequality of the entire admissions process itself, right? Again, we'll probably do trainings on each of these later on in the series, right? So again, where activities where you stand out. So let's talk about a little bit, right? So first off, let's define in the chat. Can someone give me a definition of activity? So in your kids do it, right? Your kids are in activities, right? Or if you're the student yourself, you're doing activities. How do you define activities? In the chat, go ahead, just drop it in the chat of like, how do you define the word activity, right? There's no right or wrong answer, right? We're all here to learn. All right. So, all right, so people are chiming in. I see sports, clubs, things kids do outside of school. Out, guys, right? These are actually really good ones. I've been read on fast. So this is a crowdsourced information here. Sports, clubs, things that kids do outside of school hours, sports, how you spend your time outside of school, social clubs, they take post-in, volunteer, clubs, community services, being active in anything, volunteering, work, something that kids are passionate about, activity that they are passionate about. Wow, these are great answers. You guys are crushing it today. Hobbies are working, right? I'll take a pause there. I'm sure there's a lot more, but take a pause there. These are great. These are fantastic answers to what it is. So I'm gonna give us a working definition. So we're all kind of on the same page here, right? So again, I agree with all this so far. The how we're gonna define activities for our purposes is how you spend your time, right? That is a definition of activities. Again, minus I'm a mess as a few areas, right? Minus sleep, right? One of the big things you guys know that I'm big on is kids should be sleeping 8 hours a night. If they're not, they gotta be sleeping 8 hours a night is number one, right? School, right? Actual school, like the class, actually, let me define it as classes, because school is a little very broad term, right? Classes that they're taking and homework, right, as well too. In theory, every single thing else is an activity that the students can participate in. Okay, so that's gonna be our working definition for this area, right? So when it comes to activities, right, let's talk about another quick little theory, little like lesson before we jump into the actual 8 activities. There is that when it comes to activities, right, that's the definition is quite broad, right? It's how you spend your time. So does it mean can sports be activity? Yes, because that's sports is how you spend your time. Does volunteering count? Yes, because that's how you spend your time, right? Work, does that count? Yes, because that's how you spend your time. So the next question is what one is the best one, right? And that'll be the purpose of today's call. This is the teasers for the 8 later on, right? But the one thing we're gonna make sure throughout the entire process, throughout the entire process, the metric that we look at. So this is something that we do here in our program. I don't think I've seen it anywhere. I don't think anyone has published this, isn't that? This is kind of our own internal thing we've been sharing with you guys. So hopefully you guys have been using it and leveraging it as well too. But the metric that we look at when it comes to activities is the hours per week that the student spends on these activities, right? That's kind of our little mini metric that we use to kind of see, are students good? Are they on track to wherever they want to go? May it be UCs, may it be even other schools, right? Ivies and this and that too. So as a general rule of thumb, right? Again, this number may or may not shock you. Our coaching families know this is like, oh, this is what we expect. For new families, for a lot of the number ones who have been here, right? Boom. Holy moly. So I'm gonna get you guys ready, right? So if you guys are interested in the UC schools, right? Think of this as the Riversides, the Santa Barbaras, the Davises, right? We like to see how our students aim for 20 hours of activities per week. That's number one. And number two, if you aim for like the higher end UCs, like the UCLAs, UC Berkeley's, the higher end kind of private schools as well too, right? Tops, I say 2050s, right? Actually, top 50s, right? I'll say it, right? You're looking at 25, 30 plus hours of activities per day. If you're aiming even higher than that, we have some kids who are aiming for Ivies, some kids who are aiming for like the MITs and these kind of extremer schools, right? We like to have our students aim for 30, 35 plus hours per week of activities. And you're like, holy moly, Coach Tony. I hear you guys. I hear you guys. Holy moly. Right? That's a lot of hours, right? That's a lot of hours. And let me break it down for you because again, I bet you're thinking, Coach Tony, my child doesn't have time. My child doesn't have time. That's the biggest one, right? I don't have time, right? And here's reality, right? I see we have over 300 people. Thank you everyone for joining, right? I bet I'm willing to put a bet that all 300 of you guys have the exact same amount of time, right? We all have 24 hours in the day, right? How we spend those 24 hours, though, that's a different story, right? That's not, but in terms of time, we all don't have time. We all have time. We all share the same time day after day after day. The big question is how are you spending your time now, right? Your time now. And then one of the cool things I would recommend you guys do and just think about is to audit, right? Audit your time. Adults, if you guys want to try this out too, feel free to try this out, right? Have you ever taken a pause and say, how did I spend my last 7 days? Or how am I going to spend the next 7 days? So one really like eye-opening drill that a lot of our students do is they track literally from like Monday to Monday, Sunday to Sunday, track, or you guys start now, Tuesday to Tuesday, right? How have you spent every part of your day, right? Are you always just doing work all day long? Or are you doing work for a chunk of it? And are you on your phone for another bit? Are you watching Netflix for a little bit? Are you scrolling TikTok for a little bit? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you listening to music? Are you just laying in bed for a little bit? So there's a lot of things that we do that we don't realize. Just to do some math for you, you guys are curious. There are 168 hours in a week. That's 7 days times 24 hours, right? And then there are some non-negotiables, right? Again, we're really big on you gotta sleep 8 hours, right? 8 hours of sleep daily, right? That's 56 hours gone, right? Again, does your kids sleep 56 hours? I don't think so. However, I do recommend that. That's how they're gonna be healthy and everything and work at an optimal level, right? You gotta do school, right? School's gotta take what 30 hours per week, right? That's what 5 hours, 6 hours per day times 5 days a week. Could be a little more, 36 maybe or something, right? But that's gonna be the math there, right? This is school, right? And how much homework? You guys say my kids doing homework today. Are they really? Are they literally for 3 hours straight doing homework, or are they doing homework for 20 minutes, then checking their phone, doing homework for 10 more minutes, then talking to their friend, have the friend on FaceTime, listening to music that they're kind of zoning off as well too, right? Typically, we see as students spend around 15 hours per week of homework, 3 hours per day times 5 days a week is like homework and study. as well too. Again, could these numbers fluctuate? Sure. Every school is a little different. Every homework's a little different as well too. But this is what we tend to see. And there's a few. I always say me time, right? Me time, 14 hours, right? It's 2 hours per day, right? Me time, right? A lot of our kids run really fast, really hard, meaning if they don't take a break, they're gonna burn out. And this is what happens to a lot of high school students. They're so high achieving, they'll keep running, 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 running without a break. And by the time they realize it's too late, because they are like mentally exhausted, physically exhausted as well too. So I tell students, hey, each day take me time, 1, 2 hours a day. Do things that you don't like zone out for. Me, Netflix. I've been watching, those of you who've been watching Netflix Culinary Class Wars. Love that show as well too. I have thoughts about the finale if those want to talk to you about that, right? So stuff that's my me time. So every day I watch a show. That's one of my things, right? That I zone out, ignore everything, turn off the phones, and just zone out for an hour. That keeps me sane to keep running really, really hard every single day. That might be scrolling TikTok, might be talking to their friends, doing whatever it is, just to have that me time. When you do all this math and a few other things, like restroom time and bathroom time, what's that? There's usually a roughly around 40 to 50 hours unaccounted for every single week, right? When you do the math, subtract, there's only 40 to 50 hours unaccounted for every single week. That is where you're going to be able to leverage and put in your activities, because it's how you spend your time is the big one. Okay. With that being said, who's ready? Who's ready for the 8 activities? Go ahead and say me, guys, if you guys are ready. We're almost at 370 people. Thank you for joining me. It's a fun challenge, right? Go ahead and rate, like people dropping the thumbs up. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So before I start, I lied to you guys. I lied to you guys as well too, right? When I mentioned top 8, right? You have to have that look good. Here's the real secret, right? Here's the real secret. There's actually no activities that look good as well too. There's actually none of them that look good. At the same time, there's a lot of activities that look good. And I put it in quotes both times there, right? And the big key about the quotes here is that there is no silver bullet. There is no one thing that you're like, oh, I have to have this. You know, the number of times parents ask me, Coach Tony, I need to get an internship for my child. My child needs an internship or else they're not going to get in, right? Oh, Coach Tony, my child needs research. If my child doesn't have research, they're not going to get in as well too. Coach Tony, summer programs. By the way, summer programs are out right now. If you guys are applying, now's the good time to start looking at them, right? I know we've been helping some of our kids with the YYGS, the Yale summer programs application, right? So boom, summer programs as well too, right? Tons of things. This list goes on and on and on and on and on. And then I always ask the family, why? Why do you need an internship? Because most of our students who got into these top schools, they didn't have an internship, right? Oh, you mentioned research. Most of our kids don't do research. You mentioned summer programs. Most of our kids don't do summer programs. So when it comes to the activities, right, there is no silver bullet, right? There's no magical list of activities. However, the one thing you will learn about the activities section, the activities is also an area to demonstrate your students' interests, passions, and journey. This is the big thing here. If there's one thing you want to write down, copy down, this is that one thing you want to do. We're up to 400 people. Wow, shout out to everyone, right? This is the one thing you want to write down, right? It's an area to demonstrate your interests, your passions, and your journey, right? So when it comes to activities, I'm going to spoil you guys. If you guys don't want to wait to the end, here's the answer. There's only 2 things you really need. Number 1, things that the student loves to do. Number 2, things that the student thinks they like to do. That's it. That's it. Train's over. We can go home now. That's literally all it is. People overcomplicate this process too much. They're like, oh, I need this, I need that. I'm like, no, not really. That's the thing. And each activity that your child needs to trace itself back to one of these two core things. So this again, like I said earlier, I apologize. I lied to you guys. Today, I'm gonna give you guys 8 activity things to consider, to think about, to help you guys hit both of these categories. Is that okay? Is that fair with you guys? If I can go ahead and break down 8 activities that can help you demonstrate what your child loves to do and or not and or what they think they like to do. All right, all right. So again, don't treat this as a checklist of I have to do these. You'll see that this list is more of would this fit my student? Would my student enjoy, or for you guys, my kids, right? Don't. It's kind of weird, my student, right? I'll call him my student, but you guys call him my kid, right? So these are things to consider, and I'll give you guys things to think about. Like, hey, maybe this is good because some things are not good for certain students. Some are really good for certain students, right? Start with number one, the easy one, clubs, right? Clubs is an easy one, right? The reason why, right now in the chat, can you guys drop any clubs that your kids are in? So if those of you guys who have kids in clubs, start dropping them down. And I think this will be useful for a lot of the families. The kids are not yet in a club, right? You're like considering and thinking, right? In the chat right now, and you guys want to go ahead and leave on everyone mode so everyone can kind of see these ideas. It might spark something in you. It might make you motivated and thinking about like, ooh, that might be something really cool for me to do, right? So if you guys want to go ahead and start dropping, I'll try. I'll type it. You guys are love the chats, right? So there's a podcast club, podcast, Black Empowerment, Spike Ball Club, dance, Rotary, chess, stage crew. Oh man, I'm going. There's a Jesus Club, Volleyball Club, Cookie Crumble. That's super cool. Cookie Crumble, Speech and Debate, Korean Club, Christian Athletes. And oops, someone made an interesting comment. I'll talk about it a little bit. There's two. There's NHS and NSHSS. There's two of them. We'll start next to this one. We'll talk about that a little bit. Key Club, Athlete Book Club. Someone mentioned NHS, HOSA, Spanish, mock trial. Let's do 3 more, and we'll. It's a lot more. Yeah, so keep spamming them in for people who are looking, but these are good ones: nursing and swim, medical. All right. So these are examples of clubs. Now, is there any club that's better than any other club? Right? Is podcast club better than dance? Is Cookie Crumble better than the Christian Athletes one? The answer is no. Right. So when it comes to clubs as well, too, clubs has 2 purposes, right? Clubs is basically a community of folks, is number one, right? It's a group of people doing talking about a central topic, right? So whatever it is. So for example, Key Club is like a volunteering group, right? So it's a group of people, community of folks that, right, you're able to do stuff, aka volunteer, right? I'm assuming a volleyball club, it's a group of volleyball athletes who play volleyball together. There's a reading club, a group of people who read together, right? So each of these things are various club opportunities that you do, right? We like to use this as an opportunity for students to do, what do you think you like to do? Right? What do you think you might like to do? So clubs is a very easy intro to a lot of things for your school. Now, question, right? Question here, what if my school doesn't offer this club, right? Because let's say you're like, hey, that Black Empowerment Club is really cool. What my school doesn't have one. What can I do now, right? If my school doesn't offer it, 2 options for you, right? Option number 1 is going to be start it. Option 1 is start it. If their school doesn't offer it, start it. It's always a way to make it happen. Usually, by the way, you go to the counselor, go to a teacher, get them to sponsor the event, means they are the group that you're talking to, then do something about it, right? The one thing I would, and there's a second one which I'll talk about, that will, second one, bonus, right? We'll talk about it a little bit as well too. But the big thing to keep in mind is that some of these clubs, though, what we recommend is you should be doing something. You can't just go there, sit there, do nothing, right? There needs to be something active that you're pursuing as a group or something active that you're doing together, right? That's to be the big one. Before I talk about the second bonus one, really quick, someone mentioned NSHSS, right? For some of you guys know about it, some of you guys don't know about it. For those of you who know about it, you guys know what I'm about to say. So the NHS, right? This one is National Honor Society, right? This is pretty legit, right? So it's pretty legit group that's been around for a very, very long time. The NSHSS is National Society of High School Scholars, Students. One of these words, I forgot which one it is, right? This one, they make you pay like $60 per year or per membership, per something, and you get access to their group. What does this mean from a college admissions point of view? I'm not going to say it's a scam because I don't think they let you know what they're giving you. So it's not a scam that they're scamming you. However, it's something that readers know is like a paid thing, meaning you pay it and you get the thing, right? Is that good? Is that bad? It's not I would say neutral, right? I think the more I've heard about this is neutral. I think you guys know. I think what makes it a little funny, little fishy, is that they kind of attract people who think this is a very prestigious thing. Like, oh my God, I was nominated. I bet you those who have had this, you've probably taken some type of test before, PSAT, SAT, and stuff. When you guys say I authorize people to use my information and send me free goodies and free stuff, NSHSS is one of the groups that bought the list to send you information. Not saying they're bad. Again, I know they have scholarships exclusive to those groups. They have opportunities exclusive to those groups. So there is perks you get for that payment. However, if I think the way they phrase it of like a wow, it's very like whatever, like very prestigious thing. I think that's a little off, right? I'm not saying it's bad, just a little off is the biggest thing. So again, just keeping that in mind. If you see it's like $60, do it, not do it, it's up to you. But keep in mind, it's not going to play a significant role in admissions itself. Okay. Now, the second bonus, what's something we can do? So the second one is something really cool. Because let's say you want to start a club at your school, but your school says no. The school says no for whatever reason. Or again, this is toward the beginning of the year, me recording this live. If you're watching this a little bit later in the year, a lot of people don't let you start clubs in the middle of the year. They make you wait till the beginning of next year to start a new club. And that's kind of silly. Now you have to wait a few months to get it started. So the second one, the bonus, what if we started our own virtual club? I've been teaching this a lot last few years, ever since the pandemic. So a little story time will fast, right? 2020, you guys bring set crazy year, right? Crazy year. If you guys can kind of cling back a little bit, during that year, everything shut down. Everything went down. It went down. Everyone, school shut down. Everything came down. So everyone went home. Everyone went home and nothing. The world kind of froze for a little bit, right? As well too. But at that moment, I'm like, wait. How is admissions not going to stop? It's not going to be like this forever. It's going to come back. And what's happening right now, right? So for me, one thing I've always learned is that students that end up at these top schools, right? The UCLAs, the Berkeleys, and all the other privates, they don't make excuses for stuff, right? Like, oh man, the world shut down, which a lot of people did, but that's reality. A lot of people said, oh, the world shut down, I didn't do anything, right? Keep this in mind, right? When you guys work and there's is a problem you can't solve, or you be like, yep, I can't do it. You're gonna figure it out. So just like what we did a few years ago, we told ourselves, let's be resourceful. We might not have a lot of resources because again, you can't physically meet to talk. You can't come in to do the book club, right? We can't do the mock trial because we can't physically come in person. But what could we have done? So one of the ideas that I introduced to our students is something called a virtual club. And this hit really fast with that group. And it's still going to this day for some of our students who've been making this. And this is something I invite you guys to consider is the idea of a virtual clubs. Again, think about it. What's a club? A club is a community of people. Number two, doing or talking about a certain topic. That's it. Think about it. Every club you're in or your child's in is one of these two things. That's it, right? There's one of those two things that's all it is. So going back to them, like, why can't we recreate it? Why can't we do the same exact things? So the idea of a virtual camp was born. I told students, hey, what are you interested in or think you're interested in, right? and then second step, how can we get others involved, interested in the same thing as you, right? Then can we set up the doing talking part of this? Because this second part, right, is the community, right? This is the content part of it. as well. So what ended up happening, right? So a few shares, chess club. I saw chess club. Cool story. One of my students did chess club at school, and I was like, hey, let's figure out, can we create a virtual chess club? And so she was like, I don't know. I was like, let's think about it, right? Is there like an online website? It's free, right? To not limit people, right? Is there a free site where you can match people up and play games, set up like private rooms? And she's like, oh yeah, there is. I'm like, cool. Why don't you move your people from your school to that one? So every single week you can still play, because that's all I do. I'm like, what do you do in your club? She's like, oh, we sit during lunch and play chess. I'm like, oh, easy, right? So every week she has people go as it was a set time. They matched up inside the server. They use a Discord server as their main communication platform. Then they went off and they played chess. That's it. Very simple. She grew from 6 people at her school to a few thousand because get this, when you guys do clubs at your school, you only have your school to go to, right? So if you think about, again, think about how big is your biggest club at your school? Maybe 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 100. I haven't seen over, I think 300 was the max I've ever seen. If anyone can beat 300, let me know, right? But the biggest high school I've seen, 300 was the biggest club they had. But that's your school. When you talk about virtual, right? Why are you only limited to your school? Why not you go to your school and the school next to you doing virtual? Why not you do your whole city virtual? Why not you do your whole county virtual? Why not you do the whole state, the whole United States, the whole world? What's stopping you from getting that big as well too? And think about it, right? If you were an admissions person, right, and you saw a student, they had an interest. I saw a comment here, speed cubing. They were interested in speed cubing, and they organized a community, an online group of people who they just talked about speed cubing throughout the whole week, and they had like fun little mini competitions once a week of like who can do it the fastest as well. We have technology. You guys are learning through Zoom. You guys are watching me through a screen. There's almost 600 people. Holy moly, right? So you guys are watching. I'd fill up a whole theater right now of people if you guys came in person, right? We're in a different age. You're able to leverage this to help do this as well, too. So if you guys are like, Coach Tony, how do we give you the how? Exactly, right? With the community factor, use a Discord. It is free. You can create chat channels. You can do voice channels, do free video rooms in there. You don't have to get Zoom either. Have everyone join a voice room, a video room. You guys can have it there. It's free. Content once a week, once per week, do something, right? Do something related to the group, right? For example, if I was doing a book club, we said, everyone, we're going to read this book on Mondays at 6 p.m. We're going to go ahead, talk about chapter 1. Next week, chapter 2. Next week, chapter 3. And you go boom, 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 right? If I did a Korean club, right? I don't know how you want to take the Korean club, but like, let's talk about learning Korean, right? Because again, let's say you want to say like, hey, you know what? Like I was born in America, my Korean's okay, right? Because I speak with my parents sometimes, but not really. What if you create a safe space for students to talk to each other and learn Korean back and forth? What if, right? Let's say for volleyball, right? You got some college athletes to come in to be guest speakers for you, right? You invite colleges to come in to do guest speakers, and they can share their experiences, how volleyball was able to help take them to the different colleges. What if you find a way? Whoa, that's the path for me to actually get there as well too. We had a student, she graduated I think 2 years ago, that she created a medical thing, like a med path thing, right, as well too. And her thing is once a month she invited a doctor. So each month she had a different doctor, an anesthesiologist, a surgeon, this and that. And then basically she was able to leverage that with multiple schools. Hey, you guys want to join us? And then every single month we have a guest speaker come and they teach us about their field. And so every single month they go ahead and learn about each of the different topics there. How cool would that be? That is my idea number one for you guys. Anyone think their child might be interested in a club or like a virtual club idea, or they're already dead? Go ahead and drop a yes in the chat, guys. Drop a yes in the chat. Man, we're only at number one. I'm only number one. I'm only number one so far, right? All right, let's go ahead and talk about number two. Right, it's number two. So we finished number one. Now let's move on to number two. Right, so let's say your child's club. I'm gonna go a little angle. So I might talk about a certain group of folks. Some folks might not be relevant, and then all these things, it might be one that you might be good for 135, but you know, other ones, maybe not my child. Right. So number two, another big thing, sports. right? Sports, another big thing that is. Again, the question here, do you need this? Do you need clubs? Do you need sports? No, you don't need this. These are all in, all things. Go back, right? Does my child love to do this, or does my child think they like to do this? Is the other one, right? I'm also going to throw in orchestra in music, right? Because this usually fits in hand because they have, you'll see that have a lot of the same journeys in both of these as well too. Like think of like orchestra, band, right? Percussion, these types of things, right? Percussion as well too, right? Here's why. Here's why these two you'll see very similar, and a lot of students like to gravitate towards them as well too. For a lot of our students, right, sports and music is an escape for them, meaning it's an outlet, right? You guys know, I'm sure you guys know, you guys are parents, right? Your child sometimes very stressed out. Not sometimes, probably a lot of times, very, very stressed out as well, too. And it's kind of unhealthy to kind of just keep that stress to them and only think about, oh man, stress, 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 stress. So instead, what's a way for them to release it? And everyone releases it in different ways as well, too, right? You see some students who are really athletic, right? They love like playing basketball, love playing football at their school, and playing soccer, playing all these pickleball. Pickleball's a new sport now as well too, right? Boom, loving these things there. Or a lot of our students love to play like music, right? Piano. A lot of our families have their kids play piano from a young age. That was me included. I no longer know how to play the piano, my poor parents. But right, we did all that there, right? So think of it as an escape for them to do, just to let out like all the extra steam. So not only is this kind of healthy for them, right? The other big thing about sports and music that colleges really like is progression. You'll see that theme throughout all these different activities as well too. There's a way to progress, right? When you're playing in sports, you're just an athlete. Then I'm going to talk about, let's do it from sports, right? You're an athlete first. Then guess what happens? Then maybe you're like assistant coach, captain. Maybe you're now captain of your own team, captain as well too, right? So there's a progression there. If you do orchestra, right? For those of you who do orchestra, you're a musician, and then guess what? You're like third chair, second chair, first chair in your respective kind of instrument as well too, different leaders. And the other thing about progression is not just within your context, right? When you play sports, right, you usually start at your school, but what happens when you're good? You maxed out your school. You start to go out to the city level, the county level, the state level, the national level, even international level, right? International level as well too. And orchestra is the same, right? You start at your school, but some of our students are really good. They perform really, really well. They go out and they perform at the bigger places, big, big, big. And there's a progression there as well too. Colleges love to see a progression of things from an evolution, right? Growth is a huge thing that colleges love to see, that you started where you're at and you go keep going forward. Here's a little tip about sports, because I know we have some middle school families in here. This is one of the few areas that in theory, a lot of you guys probably start a lot younger than high school, right? So like my parents put me in martial arts when I was a little kid, right? And I kind of stayed with it. I stayed with it from, if you believe me, 3 years old, from 3 years old all the way throughout high school. So when everyone's saying I did 4 years of sports, I started at 3, 17. I did 14 years of a sport. How much commitment, right, did you show with that? By the way, that's another one of those big buzzwords for the activity section, right? Commitment, right? Staying with something for a few years is really awesome. But with sports, a lot of you guys have probably played soccer growing up, t-ball, baseball growing up as well too, and you probably continued it. Right. Same thing with orchestra. You probably played the piano. A lot of you guys have your kids in those level 1, 2, 3, those different level tests as well too for piano, right? Orchestra, right? They start an instrument. They kept evolving throughout, got bigger, 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 and they kept going through as well too. That commitment you can share. You can share things that you did prior to high school as long as continuous. If it's not continuous, that's the issue, right? So if you stopped it, like I did martial arts when I was 3 years old, all the way to eighth grade, and you stopped. In theory, you can't say that you kept going, right? That's not right. However, if you said if you started at 3, but you continue all through, yeah, that's fair game to share that you've been committed and done all this all these years here. Okay. So that is these sports and more. Really, really quick in the chat, is anyone's kids in this, either sports or music? Sports, any sport that they're playing, JV, and same thing, athlete, right? Then let me break down even there's a JV, there's varsity. For those of you in the JV or varsity, musicians, right? You guys are playing different things. Powerlifting is super cool as well too. Golf is a big one. Violin, varsity cheer, love that. Dance, cheer, cross country. Cross country is a very fun sport. You just gotta get shoes and you can run. That's pretty much it as well too. Someone here has started when they were 13 and continued it as well too. So yeah, so this student right here, right, can say that as long as they can stay with soccer, right, with soccer from 13 all the way out when they're 18, I have 5 years of soccer on their college application instead of just maxing out at 4 as well too, right? We have water polo, basketball, there's band as well too, there's cheer. Again, you can do both. Can you do, it does have to be one or the other? No. I have students who love sports and love music as well too. So both of them are phenomenal. All right. Thank you, Evan. Taekwondo, let's go. As well too. All right. I'm a fifth degree black belt right now. Let's go. Moving on, number 3. Moving on, number 3 as well too. Number 3. Again, if you guys questions, drop in the Q&A. I see you have 10 questions right now. I'll probably make some. Oh my goodness. Heads up. It's 6:45. I probably do not have time to get to all 8. Is it okay if I get to 4 and we do like a part 2? You guys cool with that? Drop a yes in the chat. That's cool. You guys probably get to 4 just to make sure we can get like halfway done, or else I feel bad as well too. Halfway done, and we'll go ahead and do like a second half one of these days. Who knows? One of these days. All right. Yes. Thank you, everyone. All right. By the way, you guys liking this? Is this a good training? You guys, good. One of our better trainings so far, as well. All right. You guys like the little thumbs ups, little hearts, little cry. Is it cry laugh emojis? You guys like that? You like that? Fantastic. All right. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 3, community service, aka or not aka, or a volunteering, right? As well. This is an interesting one. It's a very interesting one that I hear a lot. So when it comes to volunteering or community service, right? Really quick in the chat, because I'm curious as well. Does anyone's schools require it? Does anyone's high school require their like their student to have volunteering? All right, mixed answer. Yes. So the answer half yeses, half no's as well too, right? Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Wow. It's like the hours are crazy. I hear 10, 20, 40 hours. I guess 40 by graduation, so like 10 per year, maybe. 50 hours. Holy moly, what school you go to? Bay Area school? Just kidding. Probably not kidding. 75 hours there. Holy moly. All right, 80 hours. Well, we're playing competition now. Whose school requires the most? Whose school doesn't like them? Just kidding, y'all. All right, so volunteers, talk about it real fast. So when it comes to volunteering, fun facts, is not a requirement at most schools. I say the word most because I don't want to say all. I have yet to meet a school that actually requires it, but I don't want to be, oh, Coach Tony, you told me no, and then this school found it. So I'm gonna say most schools. Because there might be one somewhere, right? But for the most part, volunteer is not a requirement. So typically, schools require it hours because they want to help you, right? They want to help you, if that makes sense. Help you with the college admissions process. And this is one of those things that I always tell families, like, your high school, little segue, little side note real fast, right? Your high school counselor is really good, at helping you graduate from high school. That's it. That's pretty much what they're amazing at. For a lot of the other things, some of them are good at college, but not most are not. Most are not good at the college admissions process. So keeping that in mind, right? So they're helping you gotta do hours, but in theory, you don't really need hours. Like, for example, we've had kids who end up at these top schools, the LAs, the Berkeleys, even the Ivies, with 0 hours of community service, at zero hours as well too. So I easily disprove that no, you do not need hours to do this at all, right? The biggest thing is they think you need it. That's why they're requiring it. That being said, can you do it? Again, the theme of this whole training and a part 2 very soon, right? None of this stuff you have to do. Every time I'm giving you guys these ideas and these things to think about, you always think about, again, the 2 things, right? The 2 things. Where's the 2 things? 2 things. Does my child love to do this? Does my child think they like to do this? And it's always like this one to try first, and it might become a love, right? Later on as well, too. But that's always the question you want to ask yourself for each of the activities. Does my child think they want to do a club? Let's try it out. Oh, they love it. Let's keep doing it, or and stuff like that too, right? So going back here, community service. Do you need it? No. Can you do it? Sure, right? Because here's the thing: there's students who love to give back. It's something to volunteer. For example, for me, I love to volunteer. It's kind of just who I am, right? As a person. A lot of my things in high school was a lot of volunteering like stuff because it's kind of who I am as a person, right? I was probably not as athletic than as a lot of our students are. I was terrible at music as well too. I played like the viola. For those who don't know stuff, I had viola. I did the viola in high school, not in high school, in middle school, and I stopped there. But I really like giving back. So one of probably my biggest activity that I did in high school was this thing called the Explorers. If you guys have heard of it, this like little story time segue. The Explorers, for those who are interested in it, I don't know, it's everywhere. It might be everywhere now, but back in the day, it's a division of the Scouts. So if you're doing Scouts, it's a division of the Boy Scouts. Where they basically train you for law enforcement. So it's called the Explorers Program. But the cool thing about it, if you guys may have seen this, if you guys go to like the fairs, if you guys go to like the marathons and the city events, and you see people in uniform, like police and deputy uniform, but they look a little too young to do stuff, and they don't have a gun on them. That's what an explorer is. They're students typically ages 14 to 21. They're interested in the law enforcement field, and part of what they do is they give back to the community by working these events. AKA, if you think about a business point of view, you're saving the city money because if they can volunteer and help, you don't have to pay actually a police officer to be out there as well too. So that's the perk behind that. But I did that a lot. I literally did it every single weekend, for like several hours per Saturday and Sunday. So my weekends were literally all that. It was cool. I got to see a lot of events. I got to leave home, right, a little bit. That was really cool. So that was the big thing here. So when it comes to community service volunteering, the question is, how can we get this, right? Let's say you are, hey, I think I'd like to do it. How can we do it? So one way is through clubs. Right, you guys kind of mentioned it earlier. There's a few out there. There's Rotary Club, there's NHS, there's Key Club. These are the key ones I know that offer a bunch of like volunteering opportunities. You show up, they're like, oh, hey, we can sign for these different volunteering opportunities here, right? Another way, what if like, hey, I don't want to do that, or like, hey, I already have that. I want more. I want to do more as well too. I'm gonna give you guys some fun, interesting ideas, just like I've done so far, right? Idea number one: nonprofits, right? Nonprofits don't have a lot of money to play with, right? They're on a shoestring budget. They can't afford. They need the help. They can't afford the help, right? So these folks need the help, but cannot afford the help because usually a lot of these nonprofits are funded by grants, they're funded by donations, and a lot of them don't have that as well. So an idea for you guys, right? Idea for you guys to think about, to consider is that is there a local nonprofit in your area that is in the same field that you're interested in? For example, right? Example, let's say you're interested in veterinarian medicine, right? You like animals, you want to participate in animals, you might want to go to Davis for college, right? Because they're big in the vet space as well too. You want to do that. However, right, you can't do a lot, but nearby there's a nonprofit, right, that does need help. Maybe not directly working with animals just yet, but they need someone to man the front desk, right? Front desk as well too. What you can do, you can say, hey, right? I'm a high school student. I'm at this school right here, right? Love. I know you guys are, or actually, it depends how you approach it. I'm right. Hey, I'm a high school student. I would love to see if I can help you guys in any way. Number one. Number two, right? They need help. It's like, hey, let's say you visit them a lot. You're like, hey, is there a way for me to volunteer? I know you guys need a front desk person. That person's always out, blah, blah, blah. Can we do that there? Right? So idea is in person. Another idea, online nonprofits. Holy moly, right? You'll start seeing that there's a few frameworks I like to follow, right? you throw the word online onto anything, usually there's not a market, there's not a need there, or not many people are in there yet. When parents tell me, how do I stand out? Literally do something else. If you're doing the same thing as everyone else, that's not standing out. You're just doing the same thing. Versus, hey, when have you guys seen online nonprofits? There's probably a bunch now. Ever since 2020, bunch of online nonprofits that do a lot of their work online, right? So what I would do is I'd reach out to them, hit up their Instagram pages, hit up their email saying, hey, I'm a high school student at XYZ High School. I'm interested in the field that you guys are doing. Is there any way I can help volunteer my time to help you guys there? And everything that you do, they can go ahead and share the hours, right? They can share, they can keep track of the hours for you. Little spoilers for those of you guys who are like, oh my God, I need a letter from every single thing. No one really checks your hours. No one really checks your hours. So again, it's like a verbal like agreement. It's like a nod agreement. Like, hey, yeah, you give me hours, right? Yeah, okay, cool. We're good. That's the big thing here. Okay, so that's gonna be the volunteering aspect. I would definitely look into in-person volunteering opportunities or even online. Nonprofits will be your key. If you guys want to brag, I work on nonprofit, boom, that's the other way to brag that you literally do work at a nonprofit, just volunteer nonprofit. That's the other angle right over here too. Okay, I have a few minutes left. Really quick, should I do Q&A or number four? Let me know. I don't have time for both. I have time for one. Q&A or four? Let me know in the chat, guys. Let me know in the chat. Let's have some fun. I do have another call right after, so I can't stay on past that. Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so here's what I do. Let's do the best of both worlds. So I'll go live for those of you guys in our Facebook group. We have a UC Admissions Facebook group. If you guys want to go ahead and follow me tomorrow, I think like during lunchtime. During lunch time, I might go live. I'm gonna save your questions right now. I may go live and go ahead and talk about this, answer your questions live on tomorrow's call. Okay. All right. Before I do that, let me do selfish plug real fast. If you guys are interested, right? If you guys are interested, a little subtle plug real fast because I'm running out of time. If you guys are interested, our team opened up a few slots. A lot of our coaching families, they get to talk to us inside of our coaching programs. But we like, hey, you guys want to taste it? You want to try it out as well too. So if anyone is interested in booking a free 15-minute session for coaching families, you guys already have Discord, office hours, is that you guys don't do this. But for anyone who is interested in booking a free 15-minute coaching call with our team, go ahead and use that link to book a call, and our team can connect with you and help you guys out as well. Okay, the speed run number four. Number four is gonna be a fun one. It's a goodie, but fast, right? So yeah, it's gotta listen really, really fast. Number four, passion projects, right? Just Coach Tony. I don't like that word. I like the word personal projects, right? The reason why, when you think of passion projects, you think what looks good for the admissions process, and then that's the wrong approach to think about. So personal projects, we define this as student initiated, student run, meaning the student started it, the student is running it as well too, right? So I think that's the big key about these personal projects, right? And it's community focused. I think that's the third big key. So students starting it, students running it, and the community, impacting the community. So if you guys are thinking about personal projects, right? Here's how I would actually, how to do, right? How to do. Step number one, right? Think about topics that you care about, aka what is personal to you, right? That's the main thing. There are things that you do, there's things that you think about, there's things that happen that is very personal to you specifically, right? So think about that. It could be literally anything. It does not need to be in your major, does not need to be any specific topic. The big key here is going to be what do you care about? What's something specific is the biggest thing here, right? Then number two, why do you care? Ooh, this is a very like, I take a pause, right? A little pause, take a step back a little bit. Why do you care about this? Why do you care specifically about this thing? What is the personal connection to this, right? And I'm gonna give you an example in a little bit once I list on the list for you, list down the steps for you, okay? So once you have the personal connection, number three, I tell you, what do you want to do with this? Is the next thing, right? What do you want to do with this is the next piece of the puzzle. Then the last thing is the four, how can we create the ripple effect? This is for the community, right? How can we grow this more than just ourselves in the community? So this is essentially the four steps. Let me give you a real life example. One of our students just got admitted to, just this past year, got admitted to Emory, right? She got into a lot of the UCs, but she ended up going to Emory. Was her thing. And when we worked with her, we started with her like in like ninth grade, right? So I asked her, cool, let's think about a personal project for you. What do you like? What topics do you care about, right? You like, she's like, oh, I like business, right? So for her, it was related to her major, right? So cool, I like business. I'm like, cool. Tell me more. She told me how she had like a jewelry shop that she made some money off of. She did a lemonade growing up. Again, that was too old for us. We probably don't want to use that. So we're like, cool. What else about this and thing as well too? I'm like, and I asked her, how did you like business? Like, what got you into business? She told me, I watched Shark Tank. I was like, oh, but real quick, have you guys heard about Shark Tank before the show? So I don't seem funny, as well, right? Shark Tank. From all right, cool. All right, so that's that. Next, right? So you watch Shark Tank. I'm like, cool. What's so special about Shark Tank? Like, what's the significance of that? Then here's the thing. Here is the number two. Here's why do you care? She told me she grew up single family, right? It was just mom and her. That's all it is. As a result, mom worked a lot. Mom didn't see her a lot. As a result, she had to be very independent a lot and really fast. She had to grow up really fast and be very independent of herself, taking care of herself, blah, 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 blah as well, too. Right. So, but every week was a Tuesday, Thursday, whatever the time the show comes on, that was their thing because mom got off early, daughter finished work early so she can have an hour each week to watch Shark Tank with mom as well too. Oh, goosebumps, right? Each week she got to watch Shark Tank with mom. And so not only was it her interest in business, she's really big on family. She's really big on taking care of her mom the best she can. That's why she worked so hard. That's why she studied the best she can. So she wanted to create a better life for herself and her mother. Is the big things there, right? So again, number two. Now moving number three. I was like, cool. Let's do something with Shark Tank, something with business. What can we do? And then she told me she was a scout, right? She was in Girl Scouts as well too. And she's like, no, I really like the camps. The camps was something I really like. I'm like, cool. What's something we can do with the camps? Let's brainstorm. Let's figure it out. So here's what she ended up doing. She ended up doing a week summer camp. Also, 1 week summer camp. And the summer camp, the final day, she invited local entrepreneurs from her city to be guest judges, like a Shark Tank style. And each student got to do a pitch on their business. And the students were middle school students because that's when she discovered she loved business. So she wanted to share that with others in the same category as her as well, too, right? She did that. Her first summer, she had like 8, 9 students show up to the camp. By her fourth year, because I'm like, cool, how can we create the ripple even bigger? Because she had 8, that's great. How do you make it bigger? By senior year, she had over 130 students attend. And she can't run it herself. She had a full team, 20, 30 students who helped her run this entire operation as well, too. It was student run, student initiated, and it impacted her direct community. Right? That's the idea of a personal project for you guys as well. And I have a little gift for you guys if you guys are interested as well too. We throw something, specifically I throw something called the Personal Project Incubator, right? So if you guys are interested, this is basically Coach Tony will work directly with the students to help you guys get started and craft your personal projects in 30 days. So it'll be in 30 days, we'll get it from nothing to the idea. You guys can run off with it and keep running after that. We have the next cohort starts in November. By the way, it is free. It is free. If you guys are interested in this, it is a personal project incubator there. Okay. That is pretty much all the time. I do have another call to bounce off, so apologies. I can't stay on much longer, but here's what I'm going to do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to go ahead and save all the questions that I got in the chat. we'll go ahead and drop it here for those of you guys who are interested in reclaiming that free coaching call with our team. I'll drop it in the chat one final time. I'm gonna close the room in 30 seconds. So if you want to click it now, definitely click it now before it's too late as well too. Around tomorrow in the UC group, if you guys want to search it up on Facebook, UC Admission Secrets. It's the largest group. I think there are 14,000 people in there about UC admissions. I'll go live and answer your questions in the chat there. And then we'll do a part 2 of this very soon, right? So if you guys are interested in this, we'll do a part 2. We'll go over 5 through 8 as well. All right. With that being said, it's a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Thank you for tuning on, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.